As TV and movie experts, it's our job to have our fingers on the pulse of the entertainment industry, to know what's coming, know what's worth watching, and know what's going to be a hit with you, the fans. But every once in a while, even we are surprised by a TV show or movie, a hidden gem that we never saw coming. So today we're each going to reveal the one TV show and one movie that caught us by surprise. And I'm going to kick things off. And listen, trust me when I say I wanted to pick a different show, considering I've talked about this on What to Watch Live at least once a month since April, but no TV show surprised me more this year than the Emmy-nominated Freevee reality series Jury Duty. If you're not familiar with Jury Duty, somehow, the series follows a young man named Ronald Gladden who is called to serve on a jury in a civil court case. But the trial is fake, the plaintiff is fake, the defendant is fake, the judge is fake, and the jury is fake. Everyone is an actor except for Ronald, who thinks that every ridiculous twist and turn occurring around him is 100% legit. Think of it as a serialized version of The Truman Show, with a leading man who is just as sweet and lovable as Jim Carrey's character. As I mentioned earlier, Jury Duty is nominated for, or did I mention? I didn't mention that earlier. As I've mentioned earlier in past episodes of What to Watch Live, Jury Duty is nominated for 3 Primetime Emmys, including Outstanding Comedy Series and Outstanding Supporting Actor for James Marsden, who plays an exaggerated version of himself in the series. If you haven't seen Jury Duty, what are you doing? Put this at the top of your list right now. It is so much fun.
Wait, hold on. I have a question. Is this segment surprises or hidden gems?
Both.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hidden gem.
Emmy-nominated show and a hidden gem?
Well, I mean, I don't think that everyone knows. First of all, I don't think anyone expected Freevee to have a runaway hit. I mean, respect to Freevee, but like pretty young in the streaming service game, and they come out with this big thing in the middle of April that just like took the world by storm. Like Ronald was on the Today Show. He was walking red carpets. People just fell in love with him. So I think to a certain degree, it was a hidden gem that has been uncovered, but there's got to be some people out here who don't know it.
Fair enough.
Did either of you even watch it?
Yes.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just messing with you a little bit because I think this should win for Best Comedy Series at the Emmys because it's so different than anything we've ever seen before. And the stakes were so high to get it right, and they did. I'm sure they blew their own expectations out of the water on this one. So I'm totally in line with you. I think this show is fabulous and is one of my favorite shows of the year.
Yeah.
Perfect.
100%.
As for the movie that caught me by surprise, it is as you see here, the Australian horror film Talk to Me, which premiered in theaters in July. The movie follows an eclectic group of teenagers who use an embalmed hand to contact and host randomly selected spirits in the afterlife. But what begins as a drunken party game soon becomes an addiction for some of the teens who take their dalliances with the deceased a little too far. As I've said many times on What to Watch Live, I'm extremely picky with horror movies, and I'm typically very pessimistic that any new films in the genre will really resonate with me, let alone like scare me. But this is one that really shocked me. It's fresh, it tells a unique story, it boasts some wildly unsettling imagery and features compelling performances from a mostly unknown cast. Talk to Me currently has a 95% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes and has earned more than 20 times its $4.5 million budget at the box office. If I haven't convinced you yet, I'll mention that this movie was distributed by A24, who I think is a studio we all love. And it's also released new horror classics like The Witch, Midsummer, and Hereditary, as well as X and Pearl and Lamb and The Killing of a Sacred Deer and It Comes at Night. So they know good horror, and this is one of them. Did either of you see this?
Yeah, 100% we did see it. I agree, 100%. It was one of those that I went in for A24 and the plot just completely, blew me away. Hated the main actor. I just like not her in general, just the actor because I mean the character because I don't know, I just feel like she wasn't getting it. You know, she wasn't getting the whole premise of this hand thing, and she was just making things worse. But I think that just adds to the tension and the stressful nature of the whole film. So yeah, I completely agree with this.
Yeah, I saw this in the theater and I had a fantastic theater experience. It was totally packed in there, which I wasn't expecting the general public to be this pumped up about like kind of an indie horror, but they totally were. And this is like was a weird one, right? There's some scenes in this that are very disturbing, and for us, I mean, we all watch A24 horror, so I think it like doesn't phase us as much. But the way that the crowd was reacting was like they were horrified.
Mhm.
But I totally agree with you. This could be probably my favorite horror movie of the year. And I just appreciate like what A24 is doing. They always have like these original, fresh ideas for horror. And in the age of like everything being a reboot, like we're on like the fourth installment of Halloween. We have Saw 10 out right now. It's nice when there's an original script and idea, because I always generally tend to like those a little bit more. So I couldn't agree more with you on this one. This is a great movie.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I mean, I love that it's not a possession or a poltergeist or whatever. Like, it's just tired of
Sinister.
a zombie. Yeah, all of that.
Okay, hang on.
Nicole, what is the movie and the TV show that you saw as surprising hidden gems of 2023?
All right. So Maddie, don't come for me on this, okay? But I was really taken aback by Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story, currently available on Netflix. It's a prequel story about a young Queen Charlotte and King George, along with a few of our favorite Bridgerton characters like Lady Danbury and Lady Violet, soon to be Mrs. Bridgerton. So, you know, of course, everyone knows the Bridgerton series and their claim to fame, you know, steamy romances. So I just kind of assumed this one would be just like that. Well, I definitely underestimated it because not only is it a romance, but it really just provokes interesting discussions on race, representation, mental health. And, you know, the character, Queen Charlotte herself is just a strong force. You know, she's basically carrying all of these things on her shoulders. So you're just kind of seeing her bear through it. But all that said, it still maintains like a sense of humor, so you don't feel completely depressed after watching it. I'm not sure, but have either of you gotten into the whole Bridgerton saga?
I loved the original Bridgerton.
Okay.
That was one of those holiday binges a couple of years ago. But I did not watch Queen Charlotte.
Okay.
What was the intent of "Don't Come for Me"? What's
Because,
the problem?
Because Bridgerton is not a hidden gem.
Yeah.
Oh. No, I have not. You know kind of how I feel about period pieces, like
Right.
royal kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So I've not seen Bridgerton, and that's actually kind of surprising because that's something that I think I would kind of cave and watch. But now Bridgerton, you were trying to explain to me the Bridgerton extended universe that now seems to exist that I get a little bit lost in. So I appreciate the mapping it out for me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can start with this one. I don't know. I would go with, you know, 1 and 2 and then this, but totally your call.
Perfect.
All right, so next up, Blackberry, an IFC film released back in May of this year, now available to rent or own on demand. It's a corporate biopic about the rise and fall of the BlackBerry smartphone, starring Jay Baruchel and Glenn Howerton. So it's definitely a comedy. I feel like we're getting all of these, you know, corporate biopics lately. Beanie Bubble, Air, Tetris. So I just assumed this would be another drama, you know, with shades of comedy, you know, focusing more on the actual events. Let me tell you, I never laughed so hard at Glenn Howerton in a ball cap, yelling at everyone. He just really outdentist himself in this one, and yeah, I know Sammy would appreciate that one. And the director, you know, Matt Johnson, he also is starring in the film. He has this strange obsession with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. David, looking at you on that one. And it's just completely unrelated to Blackberry or the plot. But his character keeps making references and looping it back into the plot line. It's ridiculous, and I just loved every minute of it. So I know I definitely had a BlackBerry Pearl in my younger days.
You still use a BlackBerry.
She does. She does.
I just need all the fans out there to know that I don't. It's a droid. But have you guys had a BlackBerry Pearl in your younger days? Or a BlackBerry?
I did have a BlackBerry. It was when the iPhone had first come out. BlackBerry released a like competitive, like touch screen phone, and I don't remember what it was called, but it was absolute trash. And the screen itself, like the whole screen clicked in to make it feel like you were like clicking the screen.
Yeah.
It was so difficult to use, and it was so slow, and it constantly got hot when you were like using it too much. It was like warm on the back. Just awful. But that was my only flirtation with BlackBerry.
Yeah, I didn't have, so I was a Sprint girly growing up. So I didn't get to try any of these. I don't even know if they had a BlackBerry for Sprint. So I had all these like off-brand versions of whatever like the cool versions of the phone were at the time. So like the Razor and the Chocolate. I had like the B-level version of all of those until eventually I transitioned to an iPhone like a normal human being. And it's been great ever since. Been a great relationship ever since.
Well,
People wouldn't know.
Plot surprise, the major villain in this movie was iPhone. So, you know.
And look where they all ended up. I'm not like promoting my like love for Apple products, by the way. I'm a PC computer.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nicole. Maddie, bring us home with your hidden gems of 2023.
Okay. So my choices for hidden gems from this year are the miniseries The White House Plumbers and the film Sanctuary. I'll start with White House Plumbers. This show was a hilarious retelling of the events leading up to, during, and after the Watergate scandal. This show starred Justin Theroux and Woody Harrelson playing E. Howard Hunt and G. Gordon Liddy, two real people, respectively, who were former CIA and FBI agents who accidentally topple the presidency that they were trying to protect. This show is quite funny and flew under the radar despite having two big stars in the leading roles and it airing in the Sunday slot on HBO. And we all learned about the Watergate scandal in school, and there's obviously many interpretations of it in film and media already. But I thought this was a fresh and humorous take on something that's obviously very serious from our nation's history, but was actually totally ridiculous and insane, and at times laughable. And this show did a really good job of exposing the humorous elements of it. And I was lucky enough, I got a chance to interview some of the members of the cast for an Xfinity hangout. And Justin Theroux and I laughed over the fact that he had to Google some of the scenes in the script to see if they actually happened because they just sounded so ridiculous, to mostly find out that they did in fact happen exactly as they reenacted in the show. So that's my TV pick. I don't know if either of you caught this. Again, like I really took the flying under the radar hidden gem thing pretty seriously because I feel like a lot of people didn't actually see this.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I did watch it and I enjoyed it, and it was mostly because of its connection with David, the creator who also wrote for Veep.
Right, yeah.
David Mandel,
I think, yeah.
Mandel, yeah. Obviously, I'm a huge Veep fan, so I knew that this was going to be sort of irreverent, and he writes really smartly about politics and that sort of stuff. So, and Justin Theroux, Woody Harrelson, I loved it. But you're right, it like kind of came and went, but it is one of the best shows of the year.
Yeah, I did not watch it. I mean, it's on my list, and Maddie, I definitely watched your hangout, which intrigued me more. But I agree. I think it's a great cast, great writing staff. It's just one of those that slipped by, you know. But
and I think too because HBO, the Sunday HBO slot was so loaded this year. I think it premiered in between The Last of Us and then the last season of Succession, either that or like between The White Lotus and The Last of Us. So the scheduling was probably a little tough for me. But Nicole, I urge you to check it out because it's a quick watch, five episodes, I think. And then secondly, I chose the movie Sanctuary, starring two of my favorite indie darlings in Margaret Qualley and Christopher Abbott. I don't ever want either of them to like break it too big because they're so good in this like indie sphere. This is a super contained, sexy, psychological drama where a dominatrix played by Margaret Qualley is in essence fired by her wealthy client Hal, and the disaster that ensues immediately after he tries to pull the plug. So if you are an indie movie fan, this is a Neon title, and they always produce and acquire really mind-bending and original stories, and this is no exception. It's very similar to A24 in that regard. I have to keep my review brief as to not give too much away, but the character Hal does not realize the psychological grip that the dominatrix has on him outside of the work he has hired her to do. So getting rid of her proves extremely challenging and in some ways extremely dangerous for him. I think this title is probably going to end up in my top 10 favorites for the entire year. And I think I've seen over like 100 new releases at this point. So it's no small feat to earn a top 10 spot on my list. So that's why I chose this title as my hidden gem for 2023. Again, I don't know. I think I took the fly under the radar seriously. So I feel like not a lot of people have seen this one either, David or Nicole. If you haven't, do you have any interest?
I love this pick and I can't believe I haven't seen this because I love Christopher Abbott and have
so
been
good.
Such a fan since the first thing I saw him in was Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene with Elizabeth Olsen, which is one of my favorite indie films of the last 10 years or so. He did a movie called James White, which is another like real like deep cut that he's just excellent in. I think I mentioned earlier in the show, It Comes at Night, the A24 movie. I love that. He was, I think, in one of the seasons of The Sinner. I loved him in that. And then Black Bear, he was in that as well. Like he is awesome. And who doesn't love Margaret Qualley? So I was not even aware of this. I'm ecstatic because I'm going to go see it.
Yeah, and just watch it on Hulu because I feel like all of the great, I think, Neon stuff ends up on Hulu. I don't want to give bad info, but I think that's accurate. And it's quick. I like a tight 90, quick, short movie. Like I said, very contained. David, you're gonna really like this one. Yes. And Nicole, I think you would like it a lot too.
Yeah, no, I usually trust your opinion on movies. But it's not giving very December Christmas vibes, so I may have to push it out to January. Right.
All right. That fair enough. It should still be on Hulu at that point, so I'll let it slide.
I thought this was Dua Lipa in this poster.
It kind of does look like her. Yeah. And I'll give you a little preview. Margaret Qualley's character rocks a couple different hairstyles and colors in this movie, so she's transforming quite a bit throughout the film.
I'm all for this.
You better watch it like tonight. I would like to receive a text from you later saying I watched this.
I say I'm going to watch a lot of stuff on this show and never do. I'm going to watch this movie almost immediately.
We'll be checking your Letterboxd. Yeah,
watch for it. Mm-hmm. Keep your eyes glued to Letterboxd. You can check out all the TV shows and movies we just discussed simply by saying what to watch into your Xfinity voice remote.